This podcast contains content that is graphic in nature and mature language that may be unsuitable for children or young listeners. Listener discretion is advised. Hey, Sin Lawsome fam! Welcome to bonus episode number 2. I'm Kelly.
And I'm Kyler.
And he's finally on an episode with me. It seems like it's been forever. Alright, and you guys have no way of knowing this, but we had to literally stop after we recorded the first 11 seconds, and we're back now. Okay, so, episode 7 came out, I don't remember exactly when that was. I think it was in September. Very end of August, so August 28th. Almost an hour long. Probably could have made 2 episodes out of that one just because of how much we had and all of the different rabbit holes that I wanted to go down.
What?
Go ahead.
Okay. What did we end up deciding that we thought was going to be the reasoning for the appeal? Was it a timing issue?
Yeah, I think that's what we kind of, you said something about the not enough time or something like that, and kind of jokingly, because I couldn't really see a whole lot of grounds, but I mean, they're always going to appeal some part or whatever. But having already read through the appeal and knowing what he based it on, I don't think we had any mention of any of it. So in that regard, we were off, but we were correct absolutely in the fact that he did not use an effective assistance of counsel. So
Well, he could not have.
No, not even a little bit. And his appellate attorneys knew as much and knew that would be kind of a waste of time to try to say that was a thing. So, and I think that's honestly, I think just by reading all of these appeals, I think more often than not, if they do argue ineffective assistance of counsel, it's a public defender. And that's generally, and I mean, there's nothing against it. It's just, it's a well-known fact that public defenders have way more cases than they have time, even with the, specific attorneys that they use for murder cases and such. They're still spread pretty thin. So, because in Louisiana, public defenders can also be private attorneys. So they have their private clients and their public defender clients, so.
And I knew that just from seeing it, but I hadn't actually put that together. Mm-hmm. I did not realize that.
Yeah.
Cognitively, I guess I would say.
Right. Before we get to the appeal, though, I do want to go over a quick rundown of the stats, because like I said, first bonus episode, I gave you guys stats, and within the 3 or 4 days it took for that episode to actually come out, they changed, crazy changed. And if you are wondering how to keep up with us on more of a regular basis, we have also started a TikTok. I have
9 o'clock.
a TikTok. It's Sin Law Podcast. The YouTube, same thing, Sin Law Podcast, which should be getting better by the end of the year because Google Podcast is transmorgifying into YouTube Podcast. They're getting rid of Google Podcast completely. And they're doing, hopefully they'll get it to where we can RSS feed straight into the YouTubes.
Nice.
And just kind of melt those things together. So
that'd be pretty cool.
I think it would be pretty awesome because that's one of my biggest issues right now is, being able to transfer the audio file to a video file just to be able to upload it to the YouTube. But I'm still posting shorts. But the one that I'm mostly and mainly active on is TikTok because those ones are just easy. And they go through quick, and I actually got that idea from another podcast that I came across called Tell Me a True Crime Story. And she does a lot of video posting on TikTok, and not even specifically about her cases, just things that she finds interesting. So I thought that was pretty cool. And I think I also have a Twitter account, which I'm not calling it X. Not because I don't like Elon or whatever.
Just because you're a twit.
And then I don't, it just doesn't feel right. I've known Twitter since before they were born, so I feel like we're a little bit more intimate than X.
I mean, you can't get very much more intimate than X.
Right. Yeah. So anyway, that's what I'm doing. So we've got at Sinlaw Podcast. For all of those, I didn't have to do any crazy kind of spellings or anything, so you can find us on any of those varying platforms. If you have any questions or anything, you can comment them on the TikTok, the YouTube. You can shoot us. Shoot us a tweet. Or, anything like that. And then, of course, there's always the email. But one thing I would like for you guys to do, please, 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 if you're listening to us on a regular basis, please stop for half a second. I know you guys are busy. I know you got a lot going on. But take the half a second. Give us a rating and a review. If you can write the full review out, even if it's just a couple words, or to tell us how bad we are, to tell us what we can fix, or to tell us to, stick to our J jobs. Anything like that is fine. Just stop by, give us a rate and a review, and then that'll actually help.
If your advice is to stick to our day jobs, we're not going to listen to it.
Just too much fun.
But we'll read it.
I'll read it, and I'll talk about it. I'll make another bonus episode if you leave me a fun review, like whatever you can come up with, I'll read it out on the next bonus episode. So, and I'm trying to get it timed out to where we have one on our off week. No telling what actual day they will fall on. I try to keep to a Monday schedule, but
we have between...
Yeah, because we're still only putting out episodes every 2 weeks right now.
Oh, that's right. We're talking about this.
Yes. Because we don't have off weeks in real life. We've had birthdays. We've had Halloweens. We've had... Oh, and...
Happy Halloween!
Happy couple days late Halloween. Our son's birthday was on just this past Friday. So we've had a lot going on. Which thankfully we had the couple of episodes that we had already recorded from earlier.
Woohoo, go stockpile.
Yeah, but now we're out. We're completely out now, though. So, getting back to it, the statistics that I get... Oh, I said it right. Look at me. There's only a couple words on this planet in the English language that I struggle with. And... that last one, stats, that is the full word. The full word, I have a very hard time getting it out of my mouth properly. And that was one of the lucky few, so I'm probably just going to copy and paste that everywhere else I try to say that word. So, anyway.
So if you ever hear that exact sound bite.
Yeah, exactly. It did work. Okay, so you guys did amazing in October. So...
Or we did.
Either way, you guys loved us in October. How about that? We had 192 downloads in just October. Our all-time total is 486 as of today. So if we don't get at least 195-ish in November, we're going to be under the bar. And just to put that into perspective, our top month before that, in September, the closest one, was 113. So it went from 113 to almost 113 to 192. So a good jump there.
Hell yeah.
I also wanted to talk about the fact that we have listeners from around the globe at this point. Not just Mexico and the Philippines, and I think we had France and India and maybe Ireland on the last one as well. We've also got people listening in Australia from down under and in the UK. So keep listening, guys. Thanks. Our top cities are still Dallas, and Louisiana comes in with the top 2, 3, and 4. And then Mississippi, Georgia, Florida, more Louisiana, all the way down till we get into the low numbers, single digits, but mostly in Louisiana. So represent. Thank you, guys. Keep telling your friends about us. And
I don't remember that one.
No, remember Evanston, Wyoming. Remember I told you, because that's the one that listened to every single episode except for the bonus. 9. Except for the bonus episode.
Oh, so then that would be all 9?
Yeah, but we have 11 now. So
okay.
They need to do some catching up. Shout out to Evanston, Wyoming, whoever you are. Anyway, so almost at 500 listens or 500 downloads from our host site. The Apple Podcast says about 474, if I remember correctly. And almost half of those have been in the last 30 to 60 days. So thank you guys so much. I like to think it has something to do with this being a little bit more present on TikTok and YouTube. All of that in mind, rate and review on Apple, Spotify, wherever. I can't see the ones on Spotify. I can't see who posted the rating unless they write a review. So if you only click the stars on Spotify, I won't be able to see who left those stars and tell them thank you.
But we will still appreciate it.
We will still talk about it. Yes, absolutely. So let's go ahead and get to what you guys came here for. So I'm just going to go ahead and read the facts and procedural history as per the appeal document, because that'll just be easier than me trying to recollect off the top of my head, and it'll be a little bit more accurate. So, according to court records, and to this court document specifically, at 12:33 a.m. on July 30th, 2019, officers from Concordia Parish Sheriff's Office were dispatched to a home in Clayton, Louisiana, to respond to a 911 call made by DeMarcus McCoy, who was the son of Megan McCoy. DeMarcus told the 911 operator that he arrived to find his mother, Megan McCoy, now Watson, and his 12-year-old brother, Lafrederick McCoy, unresponsive. He further advised that Mr. Watson, Megan's husband, was not home. Upon their arrival, officers found the victims lying dead on the kitchen floor. Based on the amount of blood and apparent gunshot wounds, it appeared the victims had been shot to death. Officers were informed that at approximately 12:55, Mr. Watson had surrendered himself to the Adams County Sheriff's Office in Natchez, straight across the bridge from Vidalia, where he also surrendered 2 firearms, a tactical rifle, or an AR-15, which we now know is Armalite rifle. It has nothing to do with the assault rifle, and a Ruger .22 pistol. Mr. Watson was later charged with 1 count of first-degree murder of Lafrederick under trial court docket such and such, and additional count of first-degree murder of Megan under a different docket number. On February 12, 2020, defense counsel filed a motion to recuse the district attorney's office, arguing that the district attorney could not be fair and impartial because an investigator in their office was related to the victims. The trial court denied the motion on March 10th, 2020, and I don't think we touched on that at all in our episode. I must have just completely missed that, or it got lost in the shuffle of continuances due to COVID and everything else.
Yeah, and there was just a lot going on with that case as well.
Mm-hmm. Now, Mr. Watson filed a pro se motion to recuse the district attorney's office on September 28th, and a pro se motion to recuse the trial judge on October 9th of 2020, but both of those motions were also denied. Now, on April 12th of 2021, the state consolidated the charges for trial, and a jury selection began. They had a 4-day trial. The jury unanimously found him guilty on both counts, and on April 19th, he filed a pro se motion for a new trial. He alleged that there was purposeful discrimination in the selection of the jury. On April 28th, about 9 days later, the trial court held a hearing on that motion, and after they denied that, Watson waived the sentencing delays and was sentenced to 2 consecutive terms of life imprisonment. Now,
in what way were they trying to how are they trying to say that there was purposeful discrimination? Why? What?
In the selection of the jury?
Yes.
Yeah, I think we're going to get to that because I think that's one of his assignments of error. So let me just get through here. Okay. So he waived his sentencing delays, which we talked about that. I believe it was in the last episode, or not the last one, but the last one we actually recorded most recently. That they have to wait like 24 hours for a cooling off period or what have you, even if it is even if it is a mandatory sentence. Like, they know they're going to get life without parole, but they still have that amount of time.
I know that we had talked about thinking that the timing issue may be one of the reasons for the appeal.
He waived his sentencing delays and was sentenced to 2 consecutive terms of life imprisonment at hard labor without benefit. So he is now asserting 2 assignments of error. This was very interesting. I've never seen this before in any of the appeals that I've gone through. They always do just kind of like a blanket appeal. Do you remember in the Diasant case, he basically just appealed in general, saying that they must have messed up somewhere. Check it out for me. which is something you can do, just to, the general errors patent on the face of the record.
I just don't like it.
Right. So see if you can find anything wrong with it.
I just don't like the cut of your jib.
Right. So they did that for this case as well as they do for all of the cases, as well as the errors that they're claiming in the appeal. So in this one, after they did their face of the record look over, they found that there were no errors patent, but the minutes of the sentencing needed to be corrected. Although the transcript indicates that the trial court ordered the 2 life sentences to be served consecutively, the minutes actually said concurrently.
Ooh.
So that was an addendum that they ended up making as part of this appeal decision, which I thought was pretty cool. So what did they say was wrong? First and foremost,
I don't like it.
Watson alleges that the evidence was insufficient to support first-degree murder, and that it was also insufficient in so much as to say that they couldn't prove that it wasn't self-defense.
Doesn't the mere fact that the one murder was carried out in conjunction with the other give it enough to be first?
Oh yeah, absolutely. But if he was going to say it was self-defense, then you could technically write it off completely, or you could give him a lesser sentence based on the mitigating factors. So if he said that he killed them both in fear of his life, and that was actually proven to be, accurate enough, then they could reduce the sentencing and and make it a manslaughter or whatever.
For hunting somebody down and dragging and rearranging and cleaning and wait, what are we talking about? Sorry.
None of that. First error, like I said, was that they didn't present sufficient evidence to establish that they were not in self-defense, and basically said that, they didn't prove their case by preponderance of the evidence, or, that's not, Anyway, so the second error or issue was whether or not the trial court erred in denying the change of venue, which would have also created a different jury pool, yada, 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 so on and so forth. So basically going into it, he says they didn't have enough evidence to prove that what I was arguing was not right. And then they also didn't give me a change of venue, and that effed up my jury pool. And, she was just well known, and the ruling that came back from the appellate court, the judges said, well, no, you're wrong. Because, like I told you guys back when we released the episode in August, at the end of August, as recent as March of this year, they had requested more detailed information from this file of Marvin Watson's case because they wanted to be able to go over everything in detail. Now, that included going through every single line of the voir dire, which is when they question all of the potential jurors. And when I want to tell you that the worst part of reading any kind of transcript from court, because I love reading court transcripts, but the most boring everything is reading when they're talking to however many potential jurors and going through the same questions and the same information and all of the things. So, doing that, that in and of itself makes the appellate judges absolute rock stars. Blanket. So to go through that and look through every single answer and to double check and make sure that...
You said blanket.
Make sure that none of the answers that were given by any of the jurors that eventually made it into the jury pool, or into the box, as it were, to hear the trial, they said that, the majority of the people that were there had never heard of the case, that they didn't actually know anything about the specifics, or if they did know of the person or one of the victims or the defendant, that, they had no bias one way or the other, that they could be unbiased and make a sound judgment or whatever. So basically the judges came back and said, no, everything's good. You're going to stay in jail. We affirm your sentencing. We affirm your judgments. And the only thing that we're going to change is we want to make sure that it reflects that your minutes say the appropriate sentence, that it's not to be concurrent, that it will be served consecutively. So
basically, no, you're not getting any less time. Actually, you're going to get more. The same amount you were supposed to get.
Yeah.
As the documents show, you will be getting more time, but as it stands, you will be getting the same amount you've always been supposed to get.
Yeah. Basically, what happened was, if he hadn't kicked the hornet's nest, he could have because he can't. It's not gonna change that fucking thing.
He could have maybe possibly convinced somebody eventually, like 60 years from now, when he's dead, that he could get out because it was a concurrent instead of a consecutive, but probably not, because he wouldn't have known.
Right, because it was, like they said, it was stated it was stated completely accurately in all of the trial transcripts. What happened was a literal wrong word by the clerk when she was inputting her minutes, which...
Damn autotype.
And sometimes they copy and paste shit, but I mean, like, it's not for that kind of case, though. But that's literally all they did was say, you're going to stay in jail, all your shit stays the same, but we're going to make sure that it is absolutely reflected properly that you are not getting concurrent. These are consecutive, so even if you manage to live a second time, you're still going to be in jail. So, having said all of that, he can still make another appeal for the Supreme Court. They only hear about, I think it's 8% at this point of all cases that get submitted to them. So, I mean, like, 8% chance.
It's still a higher chance than I was actually expecting.
I think it's 8. It might be 4. I get those numbers confused, and, you know, like 98% of all percentages are made up on the spot. So, yeah. And
I'm going to start carrying around a foam finger or something to whack you with.
Yeah, you love me. All right, so that's pretty much it for that. It kind of shuts the door completely on him. That not the best appeal arguments, but again, like, this was a pretty rock solid case. Like, he turned himself in, he had the murder weapon, he admitted to killing them. The only thing he wanted to try to say was how it happened, and there is just no evidence of that whatsoever. So he is still, I believe, in Angola. Let me fact check that real quick. Yep. He is still in Angola. He is 58 years old at the time of this recording, and he will be residing there until such a time comes to pass that he is no longer breathing the same air as all those other fine people in Angola, which, as of right now, I think they're still having issues with the juvenile thing, but we'll talk more about that maybe on the next bonus episode, because they got a lot of weird stuff going on. I mean, like, everything's just been crazy. I think, oh my god, and Matthew Perry just passed away literally yesterday, so it's been a lot, you know. There's been a lot going on in the world, and Louisiana, and all over the place.
Just in relevance?
Just in general, like, just topic of conversation for most people that are alive. And so, in so much as to say that the world is crazy, so be extra safe and take extra care. I hope you guys had a wonderful, happy Halloween. I am trying to cash in on some of these discounted Halloween decorations, trying to get volunteers.
Discount Halloween decoration? Discount Halloween candy?
Decorations for next year so we can win.
Win what?
They have a competition every year. I'll show you in a minute. I don't have to worry about it right now. But thank you guys for listening. Come back. We will have a new episode coming out on Monday, as long as I can get Kyler to sit his ass down long enough and maybe have somebody watch the baby long enough for us to actually get it done.
A lot, that one.
Just a couple days from now. Hope you guys like this bonus episode.
Oh, look at you.
Go check out our TikTok, our YouTube. Leave us a rating and a review. Let us know what you think. And we will see you guys again on Monday. And take care out there.
Love y'all. See you next time.
This has been an Elf Audio production.